Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. My name is Diego Dario. And in tonight's game plan, we'll talk basketball around the world as we break down Matthew Wright's game winner versus rain or shine and some NBA offseason moves for the Lakers, Nets, and the Sixers.
We'll talk UAAP basketball with Ateneo Blue Eagle and Gilas Pilipinas guard SJ Belangel. And we'll also check in with UAAP Executive Director Attorney Rebo Saguisag as we look forward to a new look UAAP logo. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Phoenix assistant coach Dondon Hontiveros attended his first game for the Fuel Masters against the Rain or Shine Elasto Painters. And boy, what a debut it was for him as Matthew Wright drained the game winner against the Elasto Painters. Take a look at that once more. So Matthew Wright literally takes Gabe Norwood out of the screen and drains a deuce to get the win. His first points in the game, 0-14 right before that.
Shooters will always shoot. Matthew Wright, 0 out of 14 the whole game. And what a way to step up for his first field goal. Game winner for Matthew Wright.
I'm not sure when he changed his jersey number, now number 7, back from 35, and it just feels that though the swagger is still there despite that change. And boy, what a shot that was, and let's break things down even more for Matthew Wright and Coach Dondon Hontiveros. Joining us is basketball analyst, our friend Carlo Pamintuan. Carlo, we all know Matthew Wright's a shooter, and no matter how many times he misses, he will keep on shooting. It just felt like it was waiting to happen. The ball will always end up in his hands, right, Carlo?
That's correct, Pao. And there was also a certain luck involved in that particular play. If you see Twitter and how Matthew Wright reacted to it, he said he gave credit to Gabe Norwood for locking him down throughout the game because that's exactly what he did. He prevented Matthew Wright from scoring his usual numbers, prevented him from even getting his touches. You said earlier, Pao, that Gabe Norwood was out of the picture for that last particular play coming from Matthew Wright, and it was because he stepped on his own foot. It was some sort of an accident that allowed the opening for Matthew Wright to shoot that game winner. But you have to give it to him. 0 of 14, only 2 points off 2 free throws. He missed a go-ahead technical foul just before that. But he had the confidence to shoot. And that is because his coach had complete trust in him. It didn't matter that he was 0 of 14. Coach Throwback Robinson has complete trust in Matthew Wright to make big plays, even if he had a horrible game before that point.
And that was a great decision on the part of Coach Topex Robinson. But it's also the first game of Coach Dondon Hontiveros as the Phoenix assistant coach. What can you see here, Carlo, in terms of the relationship between two shooters in Matthew Wright, Coach Dondon, and even the other shooters, Aljun, Melecio, and R.R. Garcia, who played well in that game?
Coach Dondon Hontiveros has a lot of knowledge. I worked closely with him with the 2015 Gilas Pilipinas team that won the silver medal in the 2015 FIBA Asia Champions Cup. And he was the team captain then. His leadership is beyond measure, and his ability to just give you another look at things. Ganun lang naman yung binibigay ng mga assistant coaches that are former players. No, they will give you parts of their knowledge. They will impart, what has made them successful. He had a long and illustrious career. He went out, as one of the best shooters in PBA history. Kaya yung mga natutunan niya throughout his career, yung mga hindi pa na-experience perhaps by the younger players like R.R. Garcia, like Matthew Wright, Coach Dondon Hontiveros can certainly help with that. And you just like what Coach Topex Robinson is doing. He is surrounding himself with smart coaches, surrounding himself with great talents to have, someone to lean on, someone to help him with as they progress towards this 2021 Philippine Cup.
Well, Dondon Hontiveros, you mentioned it, one of the best shooters that we've seen in the Philippines, and let's see whether or not he can have a even more positive effect in a team that's loaded with lethal shooters. Now, from the Philippines, we move on to the NBA. Now, first off, we have to talk about Ben Simmons in particular, because this guy, he now, reportedly requested for a trade from Philly. He will not attend the training camp. You know, we all have our biases, Carlo, pero sa palagay mo, saan siya bagay?
Oh, I think these are reports, but he said that he wants some California loving. So that's Los Angeles Lakers, Clippers, or the Golden State Warriors. So
Okay.
I don't know if any of those teams have, a package that could interest Philly. Certainly not the Lakers, the
Yeah.
Clippers, maybe, but maybe they're not going to part with Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. Maybe Golden State could be interesting, but with the re-entry of Klay Thompson, would you really want to shake things up that much for the Golden State Warriors and introduce Ben Simmons instead of just running it back with someone you're very familiar with in Klay and just hoping to get that old Golden State magic once again? Pero what I can say, Pao, is this is a horrible situation for the Philadelphia 76ers because they've built Ben Simmons up to be, a championship contender. Ganun yung trato nila sa kanya. They're looking at him as someone who could really help them win a championship, of course, alongside the rest of his teammates. But the problem now is they are forced to good with reports of him wanting a trade because it is very difficult to get a dollar for a dollar when someone wants out. So you have to settle for a package that you may not be 100% happy with just to have someone instead of Ben Simmons not reporting into your training camp.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this point, I want to tell Diego to stop being a host for a moment. Mag-analyze ka muna. Again, this whole Ben Simmons thing has been a bit weird in general. But then if you're a Philly fan and you're hoping for something in return, anything in return, I guess if you're part of those guys who root for the Sixers, what do you want? Do you want him to stay and just try to convince him to keep on going or change things up?
Well, if you're a loyal Sixers fan, you want Ben Simmons to stay. That was his home court for the rest of his NBA career. But Ben Simmons, if you see him in Golden State, that's actually a good fit for him. He likes to create for a lot of shooters, but the Golden State Warriors will have to give up some talent in order to get Ben Simmons.
Absolutely. Now, Lamarcus Aldridge has been cleared for NBA return. The Nets are frontrunners to sign him. Haven't yet, but they do have Paul Millsap signing with the Nets. And this roster, Carlo, is starting to look scarier and scarier. Let's say Aldridge does come back.
It's already scary.
Yeah, does that make them automatically favorites?
They're about as old as the Los Angeles Lakers.
I was going to say that too.
So if you add Millsap and Lamarcus Aldridge, you add players like that, not just for what they can do on the floor, but for the mentality that they bring to the game, the sense of professionalism that they bring into the game. Paul Millsap, Lamarcus Aldridge. Siyempre si Lamarcus, we're very happy that he will get to continue his basketball career. We all thought it was over. I'm sure he also thought it was over because of a heart condition that he suffered from in the last NBA season. So it's good that he's back. And I think he should lean towards doing, his unfinished business with the Brooklyn Nets because he signed with them. It didn't pan out. And maybe that would be the best place for him because he won't have to play heavy minutes to start with that stacked roster and instead just feel his way back into game shape for Aldridge.
And Carlo, you said they're as old as the Lakers lineup, and we move on to the Lakers side. Rajon Rondo will be returning to the Lakers. What do you think of this quote-unquote old lineup for LA?
I'm saying that they're old not as a shot. I'm saying it as reality. You do not doubt a team with LeBron James and Anthony Davis again. You're already seeing it, no? LeBron is taking it as fuel. When people said that he's no longer the best player in the NBA, he replies and he says that just injects so much more fuel into him wanting to prove everyone wrong. So if you have veterans wanting to join the Lakers, it's because they'll know that they won't have to do too many things. Because the culture is already set, the team is already set. You already know what LeBron and what AD would bring to the table. So Rajon Rondo going back to the Lakers, it's not a surprise. He won with them already, so he wants to go back to something that is a little bit familiar. A lot of them, after winning the championship in the NBA bubble, tried to get their money elsewhere, tried to sign up with the other teams that may not necessarily be championship contenders. And now they realize that it doesn't make sense. Just go back to the Lakers and try to win another one.
Well, it's such an interesting story just to see what, at the end of it all, what the average age of the Lakers would be and how their bodies are holding up, especially through that rigorous regular season. But, Jegs, in your opinion, is this LA team a team that is a title favorite going into this one?
I think so, because they're going to be eager to perform well. It's probably their last chance, especially for some of the older guys in that roster. So I think they're going to make it work. They have the talent to do so. It's just a question of being healthy all throughout the season and up until the playoffs.
Carlo, are Mavs and Jazz going to face off in the Western Conference Finals?
I don't think so.
I don't know. We had to figure it out, man. I had to sneak that in. But Carlo, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for being unbiased. That is proof that this guy won't let his heart get in the way of his head. Thank you very much, Carlo. Now, when we return, we've got UAAP Hoop Talk as Ateneo Blue Eagle and Gilas guard SJ Belangel joins us for a little throwback into some of his favorite moments in UAAP basketball. Stay tuned as you're watching the game.
Welcome back to the game. It's been 2 years since we've seen live UAAP basketball, but every Pinoy hoop fan knows that there's nothing quite like the college game. From sold-out rivalry games in the regular season, historic Final Four showdowns, and legendary championship moments, our next guest has seen them all both from the stands and on top of the podium. Joining us for a little trip down UAAP memory lane is two-time UAAP Seniors champion, Ateneo Blue Eagle, SJ Belangel. SJ, welcome to the game.
Good evening po, good evening. Thank you for having me today.
SJ, first of all, nakamusta na namin sila Coach Sandy and Isaac the other night here in the game as well. Ikaw, kamusta naman? How's the Gilas timeline going for you?
Okay naman ako as for the moment. Individual works lang since ECQ nga, hindi pa pwede makalabas. So, ayun. So, as of now, sa Gilas, yun nga, individual work pa lang kami as for the moment. So, kapag tapos na siguro yung ECQ, doon na magpa-plan kapag ano yung gagawin.
Well, SJ, you don't have to say po to me. You can say po to Diego, but then not to me. Excited ka na ba magbubble ulit?
Opo, excited na po ako since tagal na rin po ako hindi nakapaglaro ng basketball at nakapag-practice. So, for me, excited na ako makabalik sa bubble.
Alright, great answer there, SJ. And before anything else, we need your initial reaction. Siyempre, alam mo na yung kung sino mga kagrupo ng Gilas Pilipinas sa FIBA World Cup qualifiers. You have to face India, South Korea, and New Zealand. And South Korea na naman. Are you excited to play that team again and again and again?
For me po, sobrang excited na po ako since nung last time nung nag-live drafting po, nung nakuha po yung Korea sa bracket po namin, parang sobrang tuwa ko po na makakalaban po natin ulit since we know gaano po kalaki yung rivalry dito sa Pilipinas, yung Korea versus Philippines. And syempre sa iba namang bansa na ka-bracket natin. So excited na po ako na syempre makalaro.
Well, SJ, shift naman tayo ngayon from Gilas now to the UAAP. Miss na ng fans and miss na rin namin yung league na ito, yung college league. Pero I'm sure na miss mo na rin yung feeling ng isang UAAP game. What are you most excited for sa pagbabalik ng UAAP?
For me, una-una syempre is the UAAP atmosphere. Syempre, hindi natin makakalimutan nun. And syempre, yung fans. Yung, siyempre, you're now playing for your school, di ba? Yan yung nakakamiss sa lahat. And siyempre, yung mga ibang teams, namimiss na rin namin na kalabanin. At siyempre, hindi lang, di ba, puro laban, kundi may mga bagong rookies na papasok. Yan yung mga aabangan sa next na seasons, di ba? So, yan yung mga nakakamiss na moments. And syempre, hindi natin makakalimutan yung bubble. Syempre, yung mga drums. So, nakakamiss din yun. So, yun nga. Yun yung mga namimiss ko during UAAP.
Grabe, as you were telling that story, medyo nag-flashback ako eh. I've had favorite games in the past. My personal favorite watching was UST versus FEU, that Macbello versus Kevin Ferrer shootout.
yun.
Oh, grabe yung game na yun. But in the meantime, the Varsity Channel is getting set to give fans a time machine to their favorite UAP moments over the last 20 years. Now, SJ, with that in mind, so that was my favorite game. Pero ikaw, sinong idol mo growing up watching the UAP?
For me naman, it's Manong Kiefer Ravena. Siyempre, since yun nga, Ilonggo, iligay nun si Manong eh. So, nung nasa Bacolod pa ako, siya talaga yung inangaan ko, siya yung idol ko, siyempre. So, nung time na nga nung meron dun, parang pupunta yung Ateneo sa Bacolod para nanonood ako one game nila, tapos pinakilala ako kay Manong Keef. Hindi ko nakalimutan yun na binigyan ako ng jersey ni Manong Kiefer. So isang karangalan yun for me. And syempre right now na magkalapit lang kami ni Manong Keef. So araw-araw ko siya, syempre magkalapit lang kami. So nakikita ko siya lagi. And syempre as of now nakikita ko rin yung hard work na ginagawa niya. And syempre sino pa naman ba hindi susunod sa palad niya, di ba?
And
So,
SJ, can you say na you modeled your game around Kiefer? Ano yung mga natutunan mo sa kanya?
For me siguro is the way he sees the game in advance, diba? Si Manong, I really know he's a great scorer, pero if he wants to facilitate, grabe talaga yung IQ niya.
Yeah.
So yan yung mga sinunod ko sa kanya is the way he sees the floor during the game. And syempre, may mga moves din na sinusunod. So, ayan.
May favorite Kiefer moment ka ba?
Maraming pagpipilian na
Favorite keeper moment. Madami, grabe.
Oh, solid.
Siguro for me is yung dunk niya kalaban yung UST against the
I thought you were gonna say that.
Tapos yung mga clutch shots niya, syempre. Mga game winners. Ganun.
May favorite Diego Dario moment ka ba?
Kaya Diego, syempre kapag nasushutan niya ako, moment na yun.
Buti na lang di mo sinabi yung ankle breaker mo sa akin, SJ.
Nakachamba lang po ako.
Now, as much as the UAAP is full of stars, it's also full of epic rivalries. And I know a lot of people are going to say, okay, Ateneo Lasal in particular. But then, who were your favorite teams to go up against? I know Lasal is obviously one of them. But then, apart from that, what's memorable for you?
For me, during my rookie year, syempre, it's against Kuya Diego Dario, UP, syempre. Iba yung crowd iba yung atmosphere talaga kapag naglalaro sila.
Grabe
It's
yan.
all out talaga. Grabe yung intensity. Tapos next would be yung against UST.
Yeah.
Because yun nga, grabe yung level of physicality. Tapos promising players, stuff like that. Syempre, tapos highly motivated players. So ayun yung mga na-excite ako every time na kalaban sila.
And syempre, hindi lang ikaw yung excited. All of the fans around the Philippines are excited for the UAAP. Thank you for your time, SJ.
Thank you.
All right, but after the break, we'll check in with UAAP Executive Director Attorney Rebo Saguisag as we look forward to a new look UAAP logo. Stay tuned. You're watching the game.
Welcome back to the game. I'm Paolo De Rosario. Excitement for the UAAP is starting to fire up once again with announcement of their new logo design contest. Now to tell us more about this is UAAP Executive Director, Attorney Rebo Saguisag. Attorney, welcome to the game.
Hi, Attorney.
Yes, good evening. Hi, Diego. Long time no see. I'm not sure if I can say the same about Carlo. That's kayo magkita ni Carlo lately.
And you know, ED, before we actually move on to talking about the logo design contest, I want to ask you the question that's burning in everyone's minds. It's basically the pathway to the return of the UAAP, because when they come back, there's now a chance anyway we're going to see that new logo up wherever it needs to be. But can you tell us a bit about what you need or what you're looking for in terms of the resumption of competition?
Well, okay, big disclaimer again, no? Because as we know, really the virus has a timeline. Wala naman tayong control over that. No? So it's a big disclaimer. So of course, of course, sana the conditions continue to improve for that matter. And then of course we have to have the relevant governmental permits, no. But that being said, we have been working naman towards that end. So we've been coordinating with CHED, for example, seeking consultation with the PSC, with the Games and Music Board, and the people have done it, no? Itong the GIDAS, the Clark experience, the PB experience. So we're working on all the protocols to make sure that each and every student athlete's safety and health is ensured. No? And of course, as we know, yung vaccine is really a game changer. So hopefully, tuloy-tuloy ang rollout ng vaccines. I know that the numbers recently are not very encouraging, but we still have a lot of time naman that hopefully we can achieve some sort of quote-unquote herd immunity.
And Attorney, let's talk about the new logo. Nakikita ko to sa mga bola ng UAAP when I used to play there. What's the reason behind changing this logo? It's been there for a long time. Why do you want a new logo for the return of the UAAP?
Well, Diego, kasi if you, like you said, it's been there for a long time. And I think people would normally ask, dapat may saktuhan na milestone, whether it's 80 or 90 or even 100 years. But as I believe, we believe also that age is but a number. And we have achieved actually a lot of milestones this year. If you will, no? Milestones and Challenges. Foremost, we have this new partnership. No? We're entering into a new partnership with our broadcast partner, with you guys. And of course, itong nangyayari sa atin, no? In the history, not only of the Philippines and Philippine sport, but of mankind. No? We will always look back to these years, 2020, 2021, and moving forward. And as we go on to the new normal, like tonight, no, instead of seeing each other face to face, ganito na, we're conducting things in a new way, in a new normal. So we wish to encapsulate that so that the logo can serve as a reminder of what we experienced in year 2020, coinciding with season 83 and 84 moving forward.
Now we actually showed a few of the rules there for the logo design contest, and Edie, could you give us a bit more detail on the guidelines, rules, and even the prizes involved in making this logo?
Okay, first and foremost, i-clarify ko lang kasi ang dami nagtatanong, pwede ba yung estudyante or pwede ba yung graduate na. So it's actually open to all. Basta legal resident ka, including foreigners, no? But subject to, we refer to that sa mga taxation lang. So if you're a foreigner and you have to be taxed in your country, ano na yan. But basically, it's all open to all legal residents, but you have to be 18 years old and above. Ngayon, if you're a UAP student, pwede ka din. And kumbaga sa golf, there's a kumbaga best amateur or best student entry. But you could also be the grand winner. If you happen to be the best designer and you happen to be a UAP student UAP student participant also. So pwedeng doble. But kung hindi man, we have a separate award for the grand winner, and if you are the highest UAP student, you have the best design as a UAP student, meron kang special award for that. So the prizes are, for the grand prize winner, we have 100,000, 30 and 10, second and third respectively, and then 20,000 for the best student athlete, as I mentioned. Ayan, napapakita naman. But again, if you're first place, pwede ka ring UAP student and then first place at the same time. As for the criteria, I'm not really a judge, but basically 40% goes to aesthetics, 30% for originality, and 30% for relevance and functionality. Kasi again, we have to be responsive, we have to be relevant to the times, kasi because of all this social media, yung logo sana natin maganda across all platforms, merchandising, etc. etc. So yan yung mga titingnan ng mga judges natin as we go on and move forward and have a new look for the UAAP.
ED, may category ba kayo for people who look like UAP students? Kasi Diego and I can fit under that category.
Pwede pa.
Oo, pwede pa yata
Pwede
eh.
pa. Pwede pa. Si Diego, actually, kung ako tatanungin, yan ang idol ko sa UAP.
Yeah.
Yan ang gusto ko sa'yo, attorney. Thank you so much. Pero talking about the UAAP and the return of the UAAP, miss na ng mga fans yun and even us.
Yeah.
What can we anticipate and what are the factors that will be affecting the return of the UAAP?
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, ED,
Yeah.
but then, there's still some things happening up until that
Right.
time.
Yeah. Nabanggit ko na yung mga conditions that had to be met initially. But other than that, siguro to manage expectations, since we are most probably looking at a bubble scenario. So the things that SJ mentioned, the things that we most miss, yung atmosphere, being there live, there's nothing like watching a live game. The drums, that's a UAP signature. And yun lang, baka yun may malayo-layo pa. Most likely, we are looking at a bubble scenario. So we manage expectation of the fans. Baka sa TV lang tayo. But I guess, like the Olympics, at least natuloy and the world still had a good time.
Yeah.
So yan ang mga may expect natin. And hopefully, we have a full season for all events. But again, conditions permitting, tingnan natin, we have to adjust to different scenarios. We also cannot promise as to the length of the tournaments, whether it's gonna be a double round. Kasi yun nga, we were talking about informally with SJ kanina, how long can we keep the student athletes away in a bubble, including the training. So these things we really have to continuously monitor and study and come up with our formats as we reach next year, mga around February 2022.
Well, ED, just to clarify that there is no definite timeline yet for you guys in terms of this type of proposal as well, right?
Well, let me say na lang na we're really looking at mga around February 2022. Nagdi-disclaimer lang ako kasi again, if continues the conditions rather deteriorate, then we might have to adjust again depending on the situation. Yun lang naman. But yeah, para lang meron kayong idea, it's really sometime February 2022.
Just a quick one, attorney. How exciting is it that there's gonna be throwback games here and on Signal through the UAAP Varsity channel?
You know what? You can even stop at how exciting is it that we have our own channel. Doon pa lang I mean, come on, man. Again, another milestone. We have a new look, the logo, and now we have our own UAP Varsity channel. So, wala pang ang laro, may channel na. That just speaks of the trust that you give to us. And I guess siguro naman that the UAP, the likes of SJ, Diego Dario, Keeper Abena, and all the student athletes that came before you are really worth watching again. So talagang nakakakilig, nakakakilabot, and again, just having his own channel is so surreal. So talagang congratulations to all of us. We could not have made this without the cooperation of everyone, especially the student athlete.
All right, we're sure you're missing the UAAP action. Everyone misses it.
Sobra.
Thank you, Attorney Rebo.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Now, we're sure you're missing the UAAP action so much, so it's time to get in the game and relive the best games in UAAP history on the UAAP Varsity channel, available in high definition on Signal TV channel 263 starting September 8th. The UAAP Varsity channel is also available on satellite via streaming on Signal Play.
And that's it for us. Thank you for joining. I'm Diego Dario.
Catch us weeknights here on One News, One Sports, and One Sports Plus. I'm Paulo Del Rosario, and this has been The Game.